Our lives begin to end the day that we become silent about things that matter. Martin Luther King, Jr. My name is Grace Wethor, and in my life, I have many voices. I am a daughter. I am a 22-year-old as of tomorrow. Thank you. I'm a Yale dropout. Sorry about that one, Mom. I am a lover of movies and music and books. At work, I'm an author, an actress, and a director. But at home, I'm a fighter. At 13 years old, I began growing extremely sick and tired. My mom took me to countless doctors who said I was depressed, I was a teenager, and I was making it up for attention. That wasn't until one day when a blood test revealed that my red and white blood cell count was very far off, and I was sent to the hematology and oncology department at the Minneapolis Children's Hospital. There, a new doctor recommended that I do an MRI of my spine and my skull, just to rule anything out. The test was scheduled for January 9th of 2015. I did the test like I had done dozens of others, and I put on my gym uniform, getting ready to go back to school. But as my mom drove through the snow, the phone rang. She answered it, and she didn't say a word. She just hung up, turned the car around, and drove right back to the hospital. Once inside, she was taken one way, and I was taken another. I remember a nurse coming up to me with a pair of scissors and cutting off my paper hospital wristband. She replaced it with a hard, sturdy plastic one. That was the moment I knew that something was wrong. That day, I gained a new voice in my life, a new aspect of myself to explore and learn how to manage. A mass had been discovered in the pons of my brain, inoperable and untreatable with chemotherapy and radiation. I was sent home with no next medical steps, and I didn't know what to do. I became homeschooled very quickly after due to symptoms and side effects, and I quickly became isolated from my friends and from my peers. Until something really special happened. I was in a homeschooling group in a science lab with a total of 4 students in it when my eye began to twitch. I usually ran to the bathroom when this happened, but this day I decided to share. I told the class that I was fine, but I had a brain tumor and this happened to me sometimes. A girl named Gigi leaned across the table and said that she had a brain tumor too. I remember sitting on the curb after class comparing stories for hours while our mom sat right next to us doing the exact same thing. This was a very pivotal moment for me in my journey because it was the first time that I felt understood and heard. It was the beginning of my togetherness. After that experience with Gigi, I began sharing my story publicly. I gave a TED Talk and I wrote a book that included my story and the story of 14 other brain tumor survivors. Through those public speaking efforts, I was invited to Washington, D.C. to advocate for pediatric cancer legislation. The first trip I made here was for a bill that at the time was called H-Res 114. On that trip, I met a young man named Jace Ward. Meeting Jace was really special because it was the first time I had ever met somebody with a brain tumor in the same area of the brain as my own. And as we know, symptoms and side effects can differ depending on the location. We sat in the back of congressional briefing rooms laughing about side effects and symptoms and struggles for hours. 8 years later, I am still fighting. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, I am tired of fighting. I'm tired of fighting for my health. I'm tired of fighting for my friends and for my peers. I'm tired of fighting for days without seizures and headaches. I am tired of fighting for my life. But one thing I've learned in this journey is that sometimes the only thing harder than fighting every single day is not. And so I stand here today as a liaison, as a voice for all my friends whose journey on the thirst was cut off too soon. For Jace, for Amber, for Ariel, for Kate, for Brooke, and for all of the friends that I will never have the opportunity to meet. I stand here today as a label, as an example, as a percentage, asking you to join me. By simply sharing our stories with members of Congress and White House staff, by spreading awareness in our own communities and on social media, and by marching up Capitol Hill fighting for legislation that we are passionate about, we are opening the door to a future with awareness that will lead to research that will ultimately, hopefully, lead to a cure. Because if every single one of us shared the reality that we have to face every single day with just one more person who isn't educated on it, we could double the awareness of the childhood cancer fight. Because I think as families in this fight, we're often labeled with this word, rare. But looking around this room, I'd argue that we are not rare. We're simply unseen to the untrained eye. And my hope is that together, we can use our voices, tell our stories, and train more eyes. Thank you.